Ah, man. What's going on, bro? Good morning. I'm 21 years old now, and it doesn't even feel real. I feel like for me, although now I'm officially 21 and an adult, I feel like my mindset has just been like that for a long time now because I've always, at least in the last 2, 3 years, found I relate more to older people. One of my best friends, if not my best friend, is like 27. And it's just because I relate to what they're saying because they're kind of not as much focused on those juvenile activities anymore. And if you're still going through that phase, like that's cool because I went through that phase too where I was wanting to go out and party, where I was wanting to go out and do all that stuff. But you grow at a certain point, and I'm so appreciative for me that that stage was sooner rather than later because for a lot of people, they're still fulfilling that in their 20s and 30s and 40s, and then, you know. But what I wanted to talk about in this video was success because I feel like as a 21-year-old now, it makes me just feel worse about myself about not being where I want to be and not being already having $1 million company, having the life I want set in stone. And 21, obviously, that's still relatively young. But for me, now that's just another year where it's into the future where it's like, okay, like I'm making this happen, but what is the way that I'm gonna make the success happen? What is the way that I'm gonna like just turn these ideas into reality? And so I was thinking, and I recently read this book. It's called Cybernetics. I'll uh, I'll link it in the description. I forget who it's from. I read it about a month ago. But I like reading a book and then digesting the information that it is about. And so what this book said basically, and this is no summary. This is straight off the dome, so it's like a good experience to see whether I actually learned it or not. But this book basically explains that humans have a success mechanism in our brain, and basically what it describes is that we a lot of times all we need is the destination, and if we provide our brain with that destination through visualizing the activity, through thinking and believing we can get there, our brain will basically be able to guide us through the journey, through the hardships in order to get to that final destination, which is like, wow, it's like mind-blowing to think about, right? Because we think more about the journey than the destination because that's what's going to get us to the destination. But that's what this book kind of talks about. And so it talks about that the answers are out there, that basically if we provide that output, the brain will basically be able to do everything. And it gives a couple examples because when I was reading this, I was like, nah, this can't be true. This can't be true. And so one of the things that it talked about was that this old man was kind of like a archaeologist, right? And he was basically he had this idea that there was this fish he was missing, but he didn't know how to do it, right? And so he thought, okay, I'm gonna basically see what I can do because I can't really get it right now. I'm gonna see what I'm gonna do, keep going on with my day-to-day life. But he had that idea. And then one night in his dream, which dreaming is a totally interesting thing, in his dreams he saw that fish completed. But when he woke up, that dream vanished, as most dreams do. He didn't really know what it was about anymore. And so he decided the next night to have a journal by his bed. And sure enough, in his dream, while his subconscious was working, he was able to see that fish again. And he had his journal by him. And through the next few nights, he was able to, with his journal and pen, right when he would wake up, draw little bits of it. And then, sure enough, after a few days, he had that fish completed and it was accurate. There was no flaws whatsoever. And so this is kind of mind blowing because we're never taught or told of this thing. But basically, our subconscious works at a level that we do not understand 100%. And so often, one of the things I like saying these days is everything is noise because our subconscious can't really work because we're always providing all these stimulus, all these intrusive thoughts and things that our subconscious can never work. Because our subconscious, if we're using these characteristics, knows that assignment, knows that goal, the initiative, but it doesn't know how to really work on it because we're always just overstimulated and doing all this stuff, right? So that was like a huge finding to me. It also told us about this basketball team where visualization is a big thing in this book, right? And you think that practice is what's gonna make you perfect, right? It's such a saying, I played sports growing up. It was always something people said, right? But one thing this book talks about is two kind of basketball teams. One team shot every single day and got a ton of hours in, and they certainly improved their jump shot, was able to hit more jump shots and get more balls to go into the net. Now, this other group, they only shot on the first and the last day. But what they did every single day was they spend time visualizing, seeing that ball go in the basket. And so you might be watching this, you're like, okay, well, obviously the other group won. No. The group that visualized actually made more of their shots because they already saw it. And basically they saw that idea and their brain just made it basically work in the reality. Now they were capable athletes. They played basketball before, but these were basically two equivalent teams, very similar, and the results were mind-blowing, showing that the team that spent time visualizing, seeing that output, literally was able to make more shots at the end of the day and be more successful. So it's kind of something to think about, right? And this book, very good read. If you haven't read it, I strongly recommend. One of the most interesting, almost trippy books I've read. And so I'm trying to implement concepts like this now, visualizing every single day. For me, it's before bed. I'll spend 10 minutes just kind of like with my eyes closed, seeing the vision that I want to see, providing my brain with that so that everything else can kind of happen. And so doing that's kind of freeing, because if you provide that output and you're staying true to your values, your morals and beliefs, you're ultimately not really stressing about whether it's going to work out, because you know what you're going for. And you're putting that out in the world, and you're being disciplined in your craft and stuff, and it's a powerful thing. But what I was going to say was that I think one of the biggest things about success, about achieving things in life, is believing you can, because in life you always find what you're looking for. And if you're always thinking, I'm never going to get this, I'm depressed, I'm broke, I'm poor, you're always going to be looking for things in day-to-day life to kind of validate that conclusion that you've made with yourself. And you're gonna be like, I'm still right. Look, I can't even get this to go. I can't get that job interview. I just lost that money. Blah blah blah. All that stuff's happening, and you're just validating those things, giving yourself that identity. And so once you give yourself that ability to be like, you know what, this is what I'm working for, you always find what you're looking for in life. This is similar concepts to that book, but you change your mindset. You literally change your life, because you're gonna start looking for and seeing those things you want to see, and it's gonna progressively just propel you forward over time, because you don't have that negative mindset thinking you can't do anything, you can't do this, you can't do that. Because life has a way of kind of giving us what we're looking for, but most people don't think they can. And so when a person's tied, or when a person believes something is impossible, he's of course going to remain tied. I butchered that so hard. When a person believes in impossibility, he remains tied to that impossibility forever. He believes it. His belief is strong. Our beliefs are strong as humans, and when we have those beliefs thinking we can't do this, can't do that, it's not going to happen. So if you want success, you got to first believe. You got to know you can achieve it. You got to align your life to it, and you got to do these little things like visualizing and just believing you can, seeing that end goal, so that you know what you're striking for. Because when you're looking down, it's blurry, it's foggy, but if you can see that end goal and you can just keep taking steps in the right direction, that's really it. That's really it. Don't make it happen, let it happen. You know what you want to push for, but overly trying to make things work with that is relative to with everything, with your job, with your relationship, with your friends, with trying to make money. When you try to make it happen, a lot of times it's not really gonna, like, just more effort, more energy is not gonna allow it to happen. And based on Cybernetics, the book, your subconscious, your brain, your success mechanism, as the guy calls it, it's not gonna do anything. It's just gonna keep you farther from those goals. And this book, I think the reason I like this book so much is because the information is profound. It's very informative. But the guy who wrote it, he was actually a plastic surgeon, and he noticed that when people came in for plastic surgery, just because they got plastic surgery and were able to look more attractive, get their face in check and whatnot, a lot of these people didn't actually become happy with that. And he attributes that due to the fact that people have these underlying beliefs, and our underlying beliefs are so strong that they prevent us from reaching our goals, prevent us from being happy, prevent us from doing that thing we want to do. In the book, people said they couldn't be happy because they looked a certain way, because they had a disformed nose, whatever. And so they, upon getting surgery, even though they looked better, they still thought they couldn't be happy. And so it's kind of changing that mindset, and that can go again like with sales and stuff too, something that's applicable for a lot of us youngsters watching. If you think you can't sell, if you think you can't do that, if you think you can't hit that weight in the gym, like you're not going to. Every single time in the gym now before my top set, I'm like literally closing my eyes for a sec, visualizing breathing like I would and getting it done. And now people might look at you weird, but to be honest, I've been PRing every single day in the gym, bro. My squat, my bench, my back movements, they're all going up by 5 to 10 pounds every single lift, because right before that set, I close my eyes and I see myself doing it. And it literally just, like, I can't explain some of these things. It just happens. I believe I can. I prepare myself up for success. I have a good meal in my stomach. I got my song on. I see myself hitting those 5 reps, 335 on squat, and I hit it. And some days, yeah, it's a little bit heavy, but to be honest, like, when you already believe you can, you're going to find ways to make it happen. Because I've noticed, like, when this is like super weird experiment you can try. When you're drinking something like water and it's cold, if you like think really hard while you're drinking it with your eyes closed, you're like, this is so cold. You're gonna like actually like get the chills. You might get like a brain freeze because it's freezing. But if you then, with your eyes closed, switch the thought around and be like, this water's not even cold, it's not. And so our brain is so powerful, I think, so much more powerful than any of us really think it is. So just woke up and I was like, you know what? This is something I've been reading about, something I've been learning about recently. Why don't I share these thoughts with you guys on the channel? Because I think for me, it's like, why do I make videos? It's like, if it helps me, it's probably going to help someone else, because if you're watching my video, you probably have some sort of similar mindset to me and you think similar in some way. And so if you want success, start by believing you can. Map it out, visualize that thing, and watch it happen, bro. You got to realize at the end of the day, almost everything is noise. Drown out those distractions. If you have a tablecloth with an empty puzzle and you have that final puzzle piece, you don't know where it goes because there's nothing around it. But if you have a finished puzzle and you have that same exact piece, you know exactly where it goes. So moral of the story, keep moving forward. And if your belief is strong enough, just watch everything happen. I think this is the really cool thing about documenting the journey on YouTube, because it's like, Alex, you might be talking, but give me a year, give me 2 years, give me 3 years, and watch everything happen. So that's the mindset, man. Keep head up, keep pushing, like I always say. Let's get it. Have a great day, bro. Let's do it.